I'm sorry. I didn't see you there. I was just getting lost in my own eyes. Hello, my friends, and welcome back to the ABC Cafe, a digital meeting space where we discuss art, books, and culture. I'm so glad you've decided to stop in today. Our topic today is one of my personal favorites. You've probably heard of it, even if you haven't read it. It is the myth of Narcissus, the man who was so beautiful that he fell in love with his own reflection. Chances are you've heard this story and you know who this man is. But what if I told you that beneath the surface of its meaning, the dangers of vanity and personal perfection, there was a deeper meaning that could actually help guide our vision towards a spiritual center? We're going to dive beneath the surface and talk about it. So pull up a cup and let's get started. According to the ancient Greek legend, Narcissus, the son of a wood nymph and a river god, was one of the most beautiful men this world has ever seen. Ovid, in his book The Metamorphoses, all about shape-shifting gods and transforming fate, describes his eyes as twin stars, his luscious locks of hair worthy of Bacchus, the god of pleasure. The glorious beauty of his face is like a statue carved in Parian marble. Men and women alike go mad with desire for Narcissus, but he never sees a face worthy of his affection, until one day, while sitting beside the clearest pool of water, he bends his face to drink from it and is stunned by the beautiful man looking back at him from its surface. He loses track of all time in his quest to reach, to kiss, to hold the person before him, but all in vain. "Did anyone ever love more cruelly than I?" he moans. "By a thin barrier of water we are kept apart." Narcissus can't reach his love, but can't bring himself to leave. And so he sits beside this pool, wasting away with pining and passion, until, like the frost in summer, he simply melts away into the void, leaving nothing but a white and yellow flower, which we call the Narcissus. Now, understandably, this myth is told as a cautionary tale against the dangers of personal vanity, of placing too much importance on oneself, especially one's own physical appearance or beauty, to the exclusion of other qualities of character that we might want to develop or other relationships we might want to have with other people. And naturally, this story of a beautiful man arrested by his own appearance lends itself very well to being depicted in art, because what painter, sculptor, or other artist would want to pass up the chance to depict the most beautiful man in the world? During the Renaissance especially, when classical Greek and Roman subjects were extremely popular, Narcissus's allure continued to inspire great masterworks. Artists began painting their own self-portraits, too, around this time, to emphasize their own unique talents in an effort that many people attributed to simple vanity, much like Narcissus's. Year after year, era after era, Narcissus is depicted as this beautiful but ultimately tragic figure who is doomed by his own vanity. But what if we shifted our perspective for a moment? Retellings of this myth can shift our focus, our gaze, onto different parts of the story that we might not have thought of before, or change our perspective in some way. The one found in the opening lines of Paulo Coelho's book, The Alchemist, tells the story from the lake's perspective. Quote, "When Narcissus died, the goddesses of the forest appeared and found the lake, which had been fresh water, transformed into a lake of salty tears. 'Why do you weep?' the goddesses asked. 'I weep for Narcissus,' the lake replied. 'Ah, it is no surprise, for though we always pursued him, you alone could contemplate his beauty close at hand.' 'But was Narcissus beautiful?' the lake asked. 'Who better than you to know that?' the goddesses answered. 'It was by your banks every day that he knelt.' 'I never noticed that Narcissus was beautiful,' the lake said. 'I weep because each time he knelt at my banks, I could see in the depths of his eyes my own beauty reflected.'" So what happens when the world that we see in the surface of a pool of water, in a canvas, in a mirror, stares back at us? Renaissance artist and architect Leon Battista Alberti tells us in his treatise on painting that Narcissus is the father of painting because, quote, "What is painting but the act of embracing, by means of art, the surface of the pool?" Can the surface of something actually help us see what is beyond its own barrier? During the Renaissance, a painting technique called linear point perspective developed and gained popularity because it essentially copied, with mathematical precision, the way that our eyes see the world from a single fixed point. Think of a photograph of a highway receding in the desert. You could get a sense of distance, that there's something beyond the painting's horizon, if only you could step inside it and follow the road to the end of the horizon line. But painting in this style isn't just about copying nature or copying what we can see day to day. Modern-day Renaissance scholar Charles Carman argues that the surface of a painting can actually act as an axis through which a mortal, finite human being can see beyond the material of the painting, beyond their own mortal eyes, and into the infinite realm of the painting's receding horizon. Essentially, it is an exercise in giving your mortal eye something to fixate on, kind of like calming your monkey mind in meditation terms, so that your spiritual eye can be attuned to greater truths that these eyes don't always see. I know this might sound like a really advanced or theoretical concept that you wouldn't think about much day to day, but let me ask you this. When was the last time you were in a museum, perhaps, looking at a work of art? Or when you were on your couch watching your favorite TV show and you found the world melting away, so much so that you even forgot what was in front of you for a moment because that piece of art made you think about something in your own life, something beyond what was happening in the room, on the screen, or on the canvas. The last time that a piece of art helped you get lost in your own thoughts. That is just one example of how art can help us actually transcend, even if just for a moment, our physical existence, the physical materials of whatever the art piece is made of, and actually bring us closer to an inner understanding of ourselves. The use of physical images to actually help us transcend physical space or thinking about our physical bodies is a common practice in religions around the world. Think of a monk or a nun in a cloistered, bare-walled cell looking at a single image of the crucifixion in order to fix their eyes and their hearts and their minds on the single spiritual point that they are supposed to be praying about and contemplating. When we fix our eyes on what is beautiful, what is noble and worthy, what we stare at can actually stare back at us in this way. It can engross us, envelop us, and allow us to metaphorically die to the mortal plane and allow us to become engulfed, melted into that great ocean, that great void beyond what our human bodies can actually experience. For many of us, myself included, art is such a powerful tool because we know on a deep, deep spiritual level that it is not something that is simply the sum of its parts. We are not looking at something that is simply canvas and different colors of paint thrown together in random order. We are looking at something that is meant to evoke almost wordless emotions in us and help us connect to something very deep inside us as human beings. So when we think of Narcissus sitting beside that pool of water, bewitched by beauty, we can also see that he has been seduced not simply by his own physical beauty, but the world of beauty that he sees reflected out of his own eyes. He's not simply looking at his own face. Within it, he is seeing his own capacity to contemplate beauty, the invisible world that lies behind this physical one, which gives it meaning. In other words, we can think of him as looking at his own soul, and he is falling in love with it every single time. And for those of you wondering if I named one of the protagonists of my upcoming novel, Narcissus, with all of this in mind, the answer is yes, I did. There you have it. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode of the ABC Cafe. Please like and subscribe if you would like to get more updates, more fun history facts, and more interesting ways of looking at art. We update this channel at the beginning of every month. I hope to see you again soon. Thank you so much and happy looking. Bye!